It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso. Now, just before the break, we spoke about how to integrate yourself and fit into the workplace if you are new to that environment. But as much as we believe what you put in is what you get out, it's also very important that you feel encouraged to thrive in a healthy working environment.
It's so important. You can't underestimate how important it is. That's why this morning we're asking, does your workplace encourage a healthy and positive work environment? This morning we're joined by a relationship expert, and she's also a TED speaker, Paula Quinsee, to help us discuss this hot topic. Also, we'd love to hear your questions, your comments as well. So do go over to our Facebook page, Expresso Morning Show SABC3. Drop a comment on this post. We'll engage with you live. Paula, so good to see you.
Why is it so important to maintain a healthy working relationship in corporate culture?
Well, you know what, we spend most of our time, on average, 8+ hours in the workplace, working with people every day. You know, some would say we spend more time with our work colleagues than our actual partners. You know, so it's important. Yes.
And they don't like that all the time. They don't like that always, but yeah.
So, you know, if you're going to be spending so much time with people, why not do it in an environment that is positive and healthy and that talks to productivity and being the best, not only as an individual, but collectively as a team as well.
When you hear of the word healthy workplace, the word culture creeps in. It's all about culture and the type of culture that organization sort of creates or fosters. How do you go about creating a culture within a work environment?
You know, and it starts at the top, because leaders set the tone for the rest of the organization. So just like in the home, parents set the tone for children and children follow parents as their role models, it's the same in the workplace.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be an environment that creates a space where it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have conflict. And when I say conflict, I don't mean screaming matches. It can be as simple as difference of opinions and ideas. It's commonly called diversity in the workplace. I think most important is making sure that every voice is heard. Every single employee in the workplace, irrespective of position, contributes in one way or the other. And so how do we acknowledge every single person's contribution and role and value that they are adding to the business at the end of the day?
Now, how would you differentiate the difference between a healthy versus a toxic, negative work culture, especially if we are addressing issues and someone would come at you saying, don't question me, but communication forms part of being healthy. Yeah.
So let's talk about unhealthy first, or what we call toxic corporate culture or toxic environment. That kind of environment is where it's kind of almost Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening comes and you're dreading Monday because you don't want to go to work. When you get that feeling, you know there's a problem, okay? And it's not to say that every day we jump out of bed ready to go to work, but you should want to go to work because you enjoy what you do, you enjoy your position, the industry that you're in, the people that you're working with. So when it's toxic, you dread going to work, you're constantly on edge, you're stressed, you're anxious, the engagement with people is just constantly sort of covering my back and making sure that, you know, I'm not going to get into any sort of predicament or trouble or anything like that. Healthy is obviously opposite to that. People will go to a place where they feel welcomed, but people will stay in a place where they feel valued. And I'm not just talking about money here. You know, people often think, oh, we'll pay people money and they'll be happy and they'll stay. That's not true. It's about trust, respect, communication, honesty, teamwork, sharing a vision. Like the Booker, that's a typical example of fantastic teamwork. Sharing a vision, respect, trust, knowing each other, you've got each other's backs. You know, that's what a healthy relationship looks like.
Our conversation with Paula Quinsee continues here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It is a Monday, we're talking relationships, but we're looking specifically at how a healthy corporate culture or company culture can make us all do the best we can and bring our A game every single time. Connect with us on our social media. We want to hear from you, your opinions, your questions for Paula. Our Facebook page is Expresso Morning Show SABC3. We'll be back.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back to it. It is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso Live on ABC3. Well, it's Monday. We're talking relationships, and today, relationship expert Paula Quinsee is in the hot seat to help us discuss how to cultivate a healthy office culture and a strong team as a result. We'd love to hear your questions and your comments. So go on our Facebook page, Expresso Morning Show SABC3. In fact, you have gone on our Facebook page. You have left us a comment. What are they saying?
Yes, so here we have Shireen Abrahams who says, "Good morning, my Expresso family. Happy Monday. Loving the vibe in studio. Always so inspiring. A team that works together wins together. Look at what the Springboks have done. They have made us world champions. Have a great day. Lots of love, my feel-good breakfast family." Thank you so much, Shireen.
Thanks, Shireen. I mean, it is so true. That hashtag stronger together, I feel like, is applicable across any sort of area of life and any sort of type of workspace you might have to be dealing with. But when it comes to the workplace, what are some of the tools and skills required to be able to create a work culture that is inclusive?
So definitely, I think one of inclusivity and diversity. As I said earlier, every voice counts. Every person is important and contributes. Some of the tools that you could use, so things like corporate values or company values. What do they stand for? And not just as pretty things on the wall, but from a behavior point of view. How does everybody live those values every day? Communication is key. You need to be able to communicate the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, sometimes in the workplace, like in our personal relationships, we don't get along. Or somebody says or does something or doesn't do something, and it frustrates us and irritates us, and that can cause conflict. So to create a space that's safe enough to be able to have what I call those courageous conversations.
Courageous conversations.
Courageous conversations. And then the environment that allows people to have not what people call work-life balance. I like to call it work-life integration. And, you know, that talks to people's different needs, because everybody is different.
Yeah.
And creating that space also where people feel valued and that you're all working towards one vision and one sort of ultimate goal at the end of the day, because that builds the teamwork.
Yeah. I mean, you know, being in an office space, spending a lot of time with the same people can also result in some instances conflict.
Yeah.
How would you then suggest that people within office spaces can deal with conflict?
Yeah. So using the courageous conversations, it's actually a formula that we use in the corporate space, but it's really about listening skills. And often we listen to respond. We don't listen to hear. So when we're having those conversations, first of all, it's difficult in the workplace, but how do you take the emotion out of the situation? How do you look at the facts and what's really going on, and then bring the emotion back to deal with it in a human way? Because at the end of the day, we're all humans, okay? Understanding that you may have a different view, a different perspective to mine, and that's okay. But then how do we find a middle ground? How do we find a way to work together going forward? And this is where in the workplace, because things like emotional intelligence is key, and developing self and personal mastery are some of the things that corporates bring in to help people develop themselves to be able to handle people dynamics and team dynamics in the workplace.
People dynamics and team dynamics, I mean, that's the most important thing, I suppose, when you are working in a team. And every team thrives off relationships. How do you build those relationships?
So I call them having SMART relationships, okay? So the S stands for, in terms of how am I, you know, so how am I showing up in terms of being solution-orientated? Because for every problem, there is a solution, sometimes more than one. So first of all, how are you going in terms of your agenda and your mindset? Go in with a solution-orientated approach. The M stands for mindfulness, in terms of how am I showing up and how am I co-creating the situation? Because situations don't just happen. So are you showing up in a positive frame of mind or a negative frame of mind? And are you showing up in a positive or a negative emotional state? Okay. Then the A stands for accountability. How am I holding myself accountable to do the right thing, say the right thing, behave in the right way, but also how am I holding others accountable? Okay. In other words, how can you call out your teammates when they're not towing the line, or when they're not aligning to the values and whatever needs to be done in terms of deliverables and all of that? The R stands for respect. first of all, self-respect in terms of your own boundaries and that, but then respect for others and respect for the team and the organization as a whole. And then lastly, T for time, making time for your relationships, as Kay said earlier. And if you don't make time for your relationships over time, you're not going to have relationships. So those little things, the coffee chats, the impromptu social lunches or after work drinks, that kind of thing. Remembering special things. How's your children doing? How was your weekend? That kind of stuff.
Listening to a vent here, you know, giving an ear. We got another comment here that came through from one of the viewers, because they're sending them through to us on our Facebook page, Expresso Morning Show SABC3. That comment, I'm going to try and find it. I haven't got it just yet, but hopefully before you go, we'll ask you that question for the person who sent the question. The question is actually here. You've got the question
we have
there.
it. It's from Logan, and they're asking, when you walk into the workplace for the first time, how should you approach a person in the workplace if you have no self-confidence?
Yeah. So people often say, fake it till you make it, okay? I like to say, faith it till you make it.
Faith it till you make it, yeah?
And, you know, I think the first thing is acknowledging, okay, I'm scared, I'm insecure, I'm not too sure of where who I am and where I fit in and those kind of things. But the easiest way to break the ice, so to speak, is to share a little bit about yourself and show vulnerability. Vulnerability shows that we're human. It shows that, you know, and it makes it easier for people to connect with us on that level. So sharing a little bit about yourself, where you've come from, a little bit of your family, life aspirations, things, or even asking for help. A lot of people think asking for help makes us weak. It doesn't, because at some point we don't have all the answers. Doesn't matter what level you are in the business. Asking for help as well.
Thank you so much, Paula, for joining us. That was very insightful for us. We're talking all things relationships this morning. So, yeah, Jamie.